Hi, and welcome. I'm Coach Deidre Mazzoni, and I'm honored to be here with so many amazing women. Women like you who are willing to invest in themselves. I will start by quickly telling you a little bit about me. On a personal level, I have been married 38 years, and during that time, my husband and I have raised two wonderful children, traveled most of the world, and started several businesses, one of which is a coaching and breakthrough business. I am in the business of transformations. Today, we are going to begin the transformation of how you approach a relationship business so that you stand out. As women, let's be empowered to amplify our strengths and build authentic connections in business. Stay with me to the end, and I have a bonus you can download. It may change the way you work. So, what is a relationship business? It is any business that requires people to interact with each other. So, who's in a relationship business? Okay, get your chat ready. I'm going to ask you to work with the chat several times throughout this presentation. So in the chat, type me if you, in the course of business, interact with people or a person face to face, a coworker, client, contractor, supplier, vendor. Okay. Type me if you interact with a person or people each day by email or text, by phone, online, or by mail pieces. Yes, we are nearly all in a business relationship. What has helped me to feel fearless is confidence in presenting myself in the context of a relationship business. To accommodate time constraints, I'm going to show you what works for me, and we're going to use the example of a networking event. However, it can be applied to any type of interactions. So, ladies, are you ready to stand out fearlessly? I'm going to show you how, with 3 C's, you can snowball from barely known to most memorable. Each C builds on the previous to bring you top of mind, thought of first, and remembered. Right. Have you ever been in a networking event or a party and you see someone you have never met before from across the room? Or you hear them talking and you immediately know you really like that person, that you must find a way to meet them. Let's call them Greg. So, how do you start becoming memorable to Greg? You start with the first C, connect, the initial contact. What do you currently do when you walk up to a stranger at an event? Please put your ideas in the chat box. Traditional and popular is to hand them a business card. Where do you think most business cards end up? The trash, on a desk for a few days, through the wash. You get the picture. Yeah, hand out business cards fast. It's a tool, but it's not the most effective tool. How about the elevator speech? I'm Deidre and blah, blah, blah. Have you ever remembered anyone's elevator speech? Especially after a networking event where you spoke to 10, 20, 30, or more people? Not likely. Here's a different approach. It requires you to watch and listen. Start by noticing how close they are standing to the people around them. Stay that distance when you approach them. Start with a unique opener that is about them. Something like, Hi, I'm Deidre. I've been wanting to get a chance to meet you and hear about what you do. Be genuinely interested. Ask questions. And after a bit of them telling you what they do, say, Tell me more. For example, I'm Greg. I'm a rocket scientist. Oh, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. Let them talk. Make small comments and keep asking them to tell you more. When they ask about you, keep it short and high level. Say your name again and tell them something your clients say about you. Then get back to them. Let them get back to their favorite subject, themselves. During this interaction, be listening very carefully and make it a point to remember one personal thing about them. Mentally attach it to their name and their face. Memorize it. This is very important for later. Now, male or female, when they go home and start thinking back on the networking, They're going to remember the woman who listened. Connection is just the beginning. It provides an opportunity to keep the snowball rolling to get to our next C, communication. Let's say you're at this event, and let's say I'm at this event with my bestie Bob, and something is said that we both hear. It's that one thing that really gets us both going. I look over at Bob, he looks over at me, I raise an eyebrow, he nods his head, and we both know what the other is thinking. Yeah, I know that I know that you know what I'm thinking. Now let's look at the opposite of that. Any of you ever had a critical conversation with someone you love or care about? You know, an argument? And you just can't seem to win. You have explained, talked slower, talked louder, simplified. So simple a third grader would get it, but so far, they are not having it. There's no way, nothing you can say. It's just not going to get through. Banging your head on a wall would be more productive. You're both frustrated and getting angry. So what's the difference? With your bestie, you do not even need words. And with this person you love, you can't even get the words to work. One is so easy and one feels impossible. The difference is rapport. Rapport is the key to our sea of communication. Now, we're not talking about your mama's rapport, that outdated notion that rapport is when two people like each other and get along, that you either click or you don't, that it's all left to luck. That's not what I'm talking about. When I say rapport, I'm talking about using tools and techniques to create rapport, not hoping it happens. Rapport opens a person to receiving communication. Your bestie was open to your communication, even anticipating it. The loved one you were arguing with was not open to your communication at that time at all. Modern rapport is not a feeling, it's more of a process. People do not have to like each other to have or to be in rapport. However, people who are like each other do tend to like each other. We tend to trust people we like or who are like us. Rapport is unconscious. We do not always know why we like or trust someone, we just do. So, how to be like Greg without knowing them? It's all in the communication. About 55% of all communication is nonverbal, meaning physiology, movement, facial expressions, body language, how a person carries themselves, how they look at other people, their posture, all give up unconscious cues for rapport. Your unconscious will make a first impression based on all rapport cues. When we say rapport here, we mean it as the opposite of resistance. It's an openness to communicate with you. Okay, when the unconscious is determining openness or trust, body language carries much more weight than words. Want to know how to use nonverbal rapport to build into that snowball? There are many ways, but here are two that I think are easy to remember. The first is to mimic or match the person's physiology, not in an obvious mocking way, but gently. Remember, the point is to build trust. You already noticed how close Greg was standing to the people that he was talking to. And when you approached him, you kept that same distance. This is particularly important if they are keeping a bit more distance than other people. Be sure to respect their space. Then, adopt a similar posture. Mirror or match. If Greg has his arms crossed, cross your arms. If he has his hands in his pockets, put at least one hand in the pocket. If he has weight on one foot, shift your weight on one foot. Again, don't mock, but be similar. Show their unconscious you're paying attention, that you're respecting their space, that you're interested in them. The second is voice. If Greg speaks very loud, louder than you normally would, don't try to be as loud as they are, but be a little louder than you would otherwise. Likewise, if he speaks softer than you normally do, be a little softer than you normally would. Move closer to their volume, but keep it comfortable. You can do the same with speed, the speed at which they're talking. Speed up or slow down to get closer to their speed, but stay in your comfort range for both volume and speed. A person's unconscious will notice your attempts to match them and will appreciate it. One of the most important ways you can rise above in business relationships is to be genuine and really care enough to see the other person. What happens if you get caught? Someone notices your attempts to mirror or match them. This has happened to me only once. I was talking to a realtor at a meeting in a restaurant. We were standing leaning on chairs at the bar. I took a similar posture to hers. She moved, and a few moments later, I moved. She smiled and asked me if I was matching her. I said yes. She thanked me for caring enough to do it. Chances are, if someone notices that you're matching them, they understand rapport and the intention of it, and they'll value your efforts. As women, building rapport with nonverbal cues like posture and voice can lower resistance, especially in male dominated settings, creating trust for stronger business relationships. Keep in mind you can have rapport with someone like Greg, even if you do not particularly like them. I've had good rapport with bosses and coworkers I would not want to interact with outside of work. But at work, we have a mutual respect and a rapport, which produced a positive working relationship. Our snowball is growing to a pretty good size already, but let's keep it rolling with our next and last C, which is cultivate. This is the part where you work on growing and keeping rapport you have established. Okay? When Greg thinks of your industry, you want him to think of you first. For me, when someone says to one of my connections, I need a coach, they respond with, I know a great coach, Deidre. For this to happen, you have to stay connected. How many of you right now are thinking that cultivate sounds like follow up? That's so outdated. Nearly everyone dreads follow up. You pick a date, you pick a time to do your follow ups. You procrastinate, and eventually you make a call or send an email that goes something like this. Hi, we met at the networking the other night. I just wanted to follow up and provide you more information about what I do. Insert elevator speech. Perhaps we can meet up again and discuss what I can do for you. Who wants to receive that email? Or worse yet, many of those emails. Yuck. What to do instead? Remember that one thing you memorized about each person you listened to? As soon as you get the attendee list from the networking, go through the names for each one you can remember and put their personal fact next to their name. If you didn't get a list or you don't have a list, as soon as you can, start making notes. Very simple, like Dawn has kids, Greg has a big presentation, etc. You can also write it on the back of their business cards if they give you one. However you do it, you need to collect one personal fact for each contact. Now you're ready to cultivate. Careful, the snowball is getting big and heavy. The theme throughout all of this has been to show you genuinely care. This is extremely important here. Why would somebody remember that Deidre is a great coach? Because she showed that she cared about them, not just selling something. Cultivating isn't about you. It's about them. My email will go something like this. Hi, Dawn. I know it's been a while since we met at the XX networking. Since it was summer, and I know your kids are out of school, I didn't want to bother you. I'm just checking in now to see how the summer went. Were you able to spend time with the kids? Did y'all get to do any fun trips? I'd love to get together and catch up on how things are going for you. Let me know if you have time for coffee next week. I have Tuesday and Thursday open. You could do the same thing with how did the big presentation go? Did you make the plane home or whatever they told you? So which email would you prefer to receive? Follow up or cultivate? Who are you likely to respond to and remember? Ladies are starting to shine. Okay. I have a friend, Erin. I bet you know an Erin. Not a Karen, an Erin. They always seem so positive. It doesn't matter what's going on, what you're telling them about. They just seem to have the knack for seeing things in the most positive light. I bet most of you can't quite decide if you think your friend like Erin is the most amazing or the most annoying person. It could be both. Our super positive friend is a master reframer. Reframing is an amazing cultivation tool. When you're having coffee with Dawn, you may have an opportunity to reframe. It is likely she's going to tell you something that is bothering her, that isn't right at work, etc. Reframing can help you keep Dawn and the conversation positive. Reframing is used to bring someone to consider a different way of thinking of things or their situation. It can be used to help overcome objections. It's like the little snowball to go along with the big one of rapport we just built, like the head of a snowman. Whatever problem or issue the person is presenting, it's like they're looking at one side of the coin. To loosen their grip on the coin, you ask questions or make statements that cause them to peek at the other side of the coin to loosen their grip on the problem. Reframing is key for women navigating business challenges. You can tell if you're successful in reframing by getting a huh reaction, or maybe a I never thought of that, or even a shrug. These reactions signal a shift in their mindset. Their mindset is no longer set so tightly on one side of the coin. The grip has been loosened. They peeked over the edge. So let's reframe. Ready? I can't decide. What's preventing you from deciding? What will happen when you do decide? I see flaws in this house. I see renovation opportunities. I'm overlooked because I'm a woman. What unique perspectives do you bring as a woman? Your fresh perspective is exactly what is needed. Reframing is pretty interesting, yes? Now you have all three C's: connect, communicate, cultivate. There's so many applications for a snowball which can bring you and your skills to top of mind for others. I encourage you to try using one or more of these techniques to increase your competitive edge. There's a lot more I can offer to help you stand out in a business relationship or in life. If you can see, feel, hear the value, and knowing more about how the unconscious works, reach out. I'm here for you. Visit my website or email me to learn about my classes to boost your confidence and build unshakable client relationships. As promised, it's bonus time. Here's a tip on an easy way to either access emotions or remove yourself from their realm. When you look down, you're unconsciously accessing emotion. So when you look down at your phone to read that Facebook or X, you are likely to take it more personally or react more emotionally. Instead, try looking at it straight on or even up a little bit, and it will invoke a less emotional response. When you look up, you're removing yourself from emotion. Remember the Miss America pageants? Or am I dating myself? You fan yourself in your eyes so you don't cry. The fanning and excessive blinking is just for show, but looking up will help you avoid full-on tears. If you go out to my website, there's a link to the 3C's Snowball, which is a PDF download that will provide a recap of the snowball experience we had today. Simply look for coaching events, and it's at the bottom of the first event. I challenge you to pick one technique today. Use it and email me as soon as you use it, and let me know what shifted for you. Will you start with connect, communicate, or cultivate? Email which one you pick and how it went to Coach Deidre NLP@gmail.com. I expect my emails to be jammed tomorrow. I look forward to hearing how that technique worked for you and if you have any questions. Thank you. I've enjoyed this time spent with you. You have a great day.